The bully, the victim, the bystander stuck in the middle. The age-old schoolyard situation. There are noogies, wet willies, and wedgies. There is stolen lunch money. This has been going on for as long as students have been attending school. Throughout history, bullying was seen as a harmless rite of passage, just a part of growing up that toughens you up for the real world and builds character. But bullying was abuse, and now still is. When people think bully, scenes such as these come to mind.
Ha ha! Hey, Nelson, he's really hurt. I think he broke his leg. I said ha ha!
So what's it to you, butthead?
Oh, McFly, your shoes are tied. I thought I told you never to come in.
This is the way most of my conversations with my brother Wayne ended. Apparently, he just deeply regretted the fact that I had been born.
As seen in these clips from popular movies and television shows, through the years, bullying is often portrayed as a part of adolescence. But on April 20th, 1999, this perception of bullying as a rite of passage changed dramatically into a much higher level. Not your average schoolyard bully. Reforming how schools react to the bullying epidemic, by Chase Sirota and Dylan Zeef. On April 20th, 1999, the actions of two young men, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, changed the way the school community views the issue of bullying.
Columbine High School.
Violence, a tremendous amount of hatred and anger.
Deadly shooting in Colorado.
There's been a terrible shooting at a high school in Littleton, Colorado.
Situation that should have been brought to the surface long before it actually occurred.
Columbine was not the first, nor the last school shooting. However, this shooting in Littleton, Colorado revolutionized the way our country views bullying. After the events in Columbine, anti-bullying legislation has become an important prevention topic and has reformed the way we look at the average bully.
April 20th, 1999 started out as a normal Tuesday in Columbine High School. Students attended their classes and socialized in the lunchroom. At 11:10 a.m., two 17-year-old high school students stormed into the school. Armed with semi-automatic weapons, sawed-off shotguns, and CO2 pipe bombs.
Over the next 5 hours, Klebold and Harris terrified their teachers and classmates as they methodically moved throughout the building, targeting and shooting innocent classmates. For months, people frantically searched for answers.
This creative writing paper, written for class by Dylan Klebold, basically describes in specific detail his plans for the massacre in a fictional manner. This paper was a clear sign of Dylan's severe trouble, yet no serious action was taken.
Finally, years after the fatal shooting, an investigation carried out by the FBI, the answer has become clear. The answer was found to be that the Columbine shooters were victims themselves, victims of bullying. However, the fact that Klebold and Harris were victims of bullying in no way condones or excuses their actions. Instead, we must examine how to prevent such an event from occurring again, since the roots for this attack started many years before the actual event. In the days following the attack at Columbine, many stories circulated about the motivation behind the actions of Harris and Klebold. However, once the journals of the two boys emerged, it became clear. They were driven by a desire for vengeance from years of bullying. Suddenly, bullying was magnified, taken as a big deal. However, it was not always this way.
When it comes to the causes of bullying, I think that that's a complicated question because I think that there are such a wide variety of life experiences that a person could have that could lead them to bully. It could be family experiences. It could be issues of peer experiences and how they've been treated by others. It could be an experience of their own personal feelings about themselves. But I think that all incidents of bullying share one important aspect, and that's the desire for a need for power.
Before Columbine, bullying was not considered a major social issue. It wasn't, at least, until Swedish researcher Dan Oweis conducted the first major scientific study of bullying among the youth that the issue was brought to the surface of educators around the world. In the years following, Oweis published books on aggression in schools. In the 1980s, Oweis developed a bullying prevention program. Many schools have started using his methods.
I think that the Olveus program is probably the most effective because the expectation in that program is that all members of a school community are going to be part of the solution. And the Olveus program includes developing a bully prevention coordinating committee in schools, and everyone on that committee is an important part of kind of a staff group in school, whether it be the custodians, somebody involved in transportation, teachers' aides, faculty members, administrators, where kids get to know each other and feel connected to each other, and as a result are kinder to each other, and where students get a sense that they're cared for by the staff and by the students, and that they are coming to a school that feels comfortable and safe for them. Also because there's a component where parents are involved as well, that they learn about what our expectations are in school, and they're part of the process as well.
A need for people to be informed of the underestimated and underreported bullying epidemic is needed now, more than ever. Many students themselves are ill-equipped with how to deal with incidents of bullying, and the need to be informed is essential.
I think that we've found from surveys of students, now it varies by gender, it varies somewhat by ethnicity and racial background, but for the most part, about 15% of our students report being bullied. I think that is somewhat low. It's better than some other settings that I've read about. I know that one of the surveys that we did last March was the Olveus survey, and that used national data that we compared our setting against, and we found that we were somewhat better than most middle schools nationally, which seemed to report bullying on the part of students who self-reported to be in the vicinity of between 20 and 25%.
An estimated 160,000 American kids stay home from school every day due to a fear of physical or verbal abuse by their peers. Others attend school, but do so in a state of extreme anxiety and depression. 6 out of 10 American children witness acts of bullying on a daily basis, and the impact of this bullying epidemic is not just isolated to a child's school career. Approximately 25% of school day bullies will be convicted of a criminal offense in their adult life. And problems similar to this are not just taking place in the United States.
Significantly occurs in hallways, in between classes. Sometimes students have reported that it occurs in the bathrooms or in the lunchrooms or on school buses.
At one time, if you had a rough day at school and somebody was unkind to you, you could go home and feel like you could get away from it all. And now, with the technology that's available to all of the kids, you know, you might walk out of that school building feeling like you need to get away from some of the negative feedback you've been getting or some of the unkind statements that are being made to you, and it follows you through, you know, whatever form of technology that you have 24 hours a day. It's really rough.
Recognize bullying for the serious problem that it is. Don't ignore bullying when you see it. It will get worse. Refuse to participate in bullying and intervene on behalf of a person who is being bullied. Reach out to a trustworthy adult and ask for help. Don't give up. It's worth the effort.
On September 13, 2010, New York State signed the Dignity for All Students Act. The new law takes effect on July 1, 2012. As of April 2012, 49 states have joined the anti-bullying movement with similar legislation. South Dakota is the newest state to enact legislation. Montana is now the only state without anti-bullying legislation. President Obama is now supporting anti-bullying legislation on a national level.
And we've got to dispel this myth that bullying is just a normal rite of passage, that it's some inevitable part of growing up. It's not.
With the help of anti-bullying legislation and school-wide bully prevention efforts, students should be able to feel safe at public schools. If children help to stop bullying, they will also be free from the threat of discrimination, intimidation, taunting, and harassment. Students will finally have a safe learning environment and be able to concentrate on their schoolwork. if school districts don't take action on bullying and harassment cases, and if these cases create a seriously hostile environment, the school district will be in violation of federal civil rights statutes. Anti-bullying laws will help to bring attention to bullying and push school staff and students to make an extra effort to be more aware of the problem. But it is not the final solution, and by itself, it will not put an end to bullying. We still need to do our part. This law will inspire people to do their part and contribute to eradicate bullying to the best of our ability. But these laws still need our helping hands in order to succeed. The world is becoming aware that bullying is not a rite of passage, but an epidemic that needs the full attention of students, schools, and parents in order to be eliminated. Every person can play a small part to make a big difference in the trend of historical events. If we all do our part, we may be able to see a time when bullying is not the norm.